And she said, have you not recited the Quran? And they said, yes, of course we have. What has that got to do? He was literally the walking Quran. As in, he literally lived everything that he told people. Unlike some of us hypocrites, like me, one sitting in front of you, that we tell people we don't be able to do it. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he literally lived the Quran. Everything, Sunnah, come from him. So that was him. And we went through last time as well the definition of abd. What does it mean of being an abd, a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And okay, now, so Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he literally all his life, he did his best. Always he did his best to be of those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered, and he mentioned in the Quran as those وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ, that there are very few. So he wanted to be of the very few, those who are ash-shakur. Shakur and shakir. We went through the definition of these two as well. What is the meaning of shakir? I'm sure you guys have a friend with the name Shakir. One of my friends named Shakir as well. What's a Shakir? One who? Not praiseworthy. One who is grateful. Yeah, that could be one definition. One who gives thanks. A Shakur, what does that mean? Shakir is the one who gives thanks. A Shakur is who?
Gives a lot of thanks.
Gives a lot of thanks. A lot. Like he's the gratitude, the way, what's the word that I'm looking for? The contentment of his is what we are seeing right now in Gaza. The mothers who are holding their dead babies and they're saying Alhamdulillah, that's being of those people. That their family could be, their dead babies are in their hands, but they are still thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is literally, wallahi, that's the only definition that I can think of right now. And of course, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, him being who he was, the greatest of mankind ever to walk the planet, a prophet of the prophets, and all the promises that he had been given as well, the assurance of everything that he had as well. Still, he got up in his prayers and he cried and he begged. He begged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every single day he asked for istighfar from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we know as well, that he said, when Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked him, why do you pray so much in the night? Make yourself go through this. He said, shouldn't I be of those who are thankful and grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has given me so much? And last week, we ended up speaking about dua. Because, see, this chapter, there's from 260 to 286, I think. There's about 26 ahadith. A lot of these ahadith are about his tahajjud salah. Is not prayers. First, second, and third, 260, 261, and 262 are all exactly the same ahadith. That, the one that I just mentioned, he's praying his night prayer. Someone comes up to him and asks, and from some other narrations and statements we see it was Umar bin Khattab. He asked, or from some other narration we see it was Aisha radiallahu anha. She asked, so one of those two, that he's praying tahajjud salah and he's questioned by one of these two, why do you make yourself go through so much even though everything that you do is forgiven? Like your past and future sins, even though he never committed a sin. He made mistakes, but he never committed a sin. He never made a mistake in delivering the message. As we know, that's our aqidah, right? We know that, that's our aqidah. He never ever made a mistake in delivering the message of Islam. But he was given that promise because he was a human being. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, I believe it's in Surah Kahf, in Surah Ma'idah, in a couple of other surahs as well. Prophet said it as well, that I am a human being like you. I forget like you forget. Right? Like on Sunday, I was in Fiqh Salah. And in that, one of the topics that I was delivering about this is how we actually got onto this quite a bit as well. How he actually said it. Because there are some people today, amongst us Muslims, who are even, they are part of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Okay, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Salafis are in it, Qoli Wahhabis are in it, Deoband are in it, Barelvi are in it, Sufi are in it, all these are in it. If you guys want to give any titles, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from giving people these titles. We don't do that. So forgive me, I'm just trying to make a point. Try to understand the points here. So we are all from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Okay, we believe in the Quran and we believe in the Sunnah. We believe in the Day of Judgment. We believe in the 6 fundamentals of faith. We believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the last prophet. We believe all that. We believe there's no other prophet to come after him, Isa alayhi salam. All the fundamentals we believe. Every one of these. And they are not sects. Okay? The sects that are mentioned in a hadith, 73 sects, like Wahhabi isn't a sect, Barelvi isn't a sect. No, these aren't the sects. Okay, I'm not mentioning Shia because I don't want to go into that. That's a complete different tangent, right? But Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we are all Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah if we believe the Quran, the Sunnah, 6 fundamentals of faith, and the Day of Judgment, and all the basic. We all believe in that, right? So, subhanAllah, I forgot why I even got onto this point as well. So yes, the fiqh of salah. Okay, so we all believe, okay, no. The point that some people differ, even being from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, there are some people who believe Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam never ever made mistake. Not just Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they believe no Prophet ever made mistakes. Nuh Alayhi Salam didn't make mistakes. Musa Alayhi Salam killing someone did not make mistakes. Or any other prophet, they say no prophet ever made any mistakes. We know Musa alayhi salam, when he killed someone by mistake, he sought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned even in the Quran that the mistake that you made, but He forgave him. They made some mistakes, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave all of our prophets. So, coming to this, sticking with our topic, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never committed any sins. He made human errors, like for example, one of them, coming again from the fiqh of salah, that we know, one of the long hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari, the authentic of all the authentic books, right? In that it is mentioned, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam praying the Asr Salah, instead of 4, he prayed 2. He gets up, stands by the pillar, and someone corrected him. He corrected him, even though he could not believe that, oh, did I really make that mistake? Until he got a second and a third confirmation. From Abu Bakr Siddiq being the first man who was Dhul Yadayn, he was the first one. Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar bin Khattab, these 3 people confirmed, and then he said, okay, I made a mistake. And then he did the 3rd and the 4th rak'ah. And he said, I'm a human being like you, I forget like you forget. And if I forget, correct me. So, he is a human being as well. But again, in this topic, so many of these ahadith are about his night prayers. And night prayers we know for many narrations of the du'as that he used to make as well. And that is what we ended up on our last week's halaqah, when we were going through this, how he used to make du'a for us as well. And the importance of du'a as well. Right? So, one thing, now if you think about it, as Prophet Muhammad mentioned, right, whose du'a is most accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the du'a that is not ignored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all know the hadith, right? In that hadith, did Prophet Muhammad mention the one who does tahajjud the most? The one who recites Quran the most? The one who did hajj the most? Umrah the most? Salah on time the most? No, he didn't. He said those who are oppressed. Those people who are oppressed. And he also mentioned those who are traveling, because traveling is also kind of a punishment as well. As mentioned in some of the ahadith, traveling is difficult. And he mentioned a mother or a parent who has received the opposite of bir from their child. Their dua is accepted and not rejected at all. So, it's not about just being the most righteous. So, we can come into that category because we travel as well. And if we are oppressed, an oppressed person's dua is not rejected. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never make us of the oppressors. We rather be the oppressed. Because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on our side. We rather never ever ever be the oppressors. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from ever oppressing anyone. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives everyone everything, as we all know as well. And He's told us every time in the Quran that He is Al-Wahhab, Al-Wadud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, even the name Al-Razzaq, it has so many people think it's just food. No, He gives us literally our families and everything that He gives us. Now, as we mentioned last time, that this dua is our love for Him. Why? Because we are declaring that He is the only one who gives. No one else gives. But everything comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The hadith that we went through, this first hadith that we mentioned, that's come in 3 times in this chapter. Next hadith now. Next one we're going to go to is number 263, which is by Al-Aswad ibn Yazid. He said that I asked Aisha radiallahu anha about the tahajjud salah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So she said, so he asked her, how does he pray this, right? How does he spend his night? She said that he used to sleep at the beginning of the night. So after Isha Salah, the beginning of the night that is, he would sleep for the beginning of the night. Then he would get up, and when it was the time before the daybreak, the last third of the night, or just a bit before the beginning of the Fajr time, when it was around that time, he performed a witr prayer. So what he would do is that he wouldn't pray his witr with his Isha prayer. He would leave it to pray with his tahajjud, which is so difficult. Like, how can we ever risk that? It's so difficult for us. If anyone does it, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it from Ahl al-Qur'an and accept all of your dua that you make when you wake up for Fajr, for tahajjud as well. Please remember us and the people like us that as well. So he would pray at that time. He would pray a witr at that time. Then he came to his mattress. When he heard the call to the prayer, as in the Fajr prayer, he sprang up. And if it was in the state of major ritual impurity, then if he needed to perform ghusl, then he would pour water on himself. Sorry. If not, he would perform the mani ritual, which is the wudu. He would do the wudu and he would go for his prayer. That's that hadith. Let's go straight on to the next one. Hadith number 265. Which is a quick short one as well. We're going to mention a few of these ahadith, just take the point from them, and then we'll go on to the next, because there are a lot of them which are similar. Hadith number 265, very short one, by Abdullah ibn Abbas, anhu. He said, the Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to perform 13 units of prayer during the nights. How? This now. So, this is for many ahadith. Even in this chapter result, there's about 3 or 4 ahadith which actually tell us exactly how he performed those 13 units. So this is not the Isha prayer itself. The Fard is done. Okay, Fard is done, and now the Witr is left. Witr is not done. So what he would do, when he would wake up at night, he would perform either 8 of his 8 units, in, as we will come from another ahadith, for his tahajjud prayer. Then he would make 3 units of his witr prayer. He would either do 8 in 2, 2, 2, and then 3 together, okay, or he would do, sorry, subhanAllah, okay, 13, I'm getting the numbers mixed up. He would do 10 of 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then he would do 3 for witr. Or he would do 12, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then 1 single witr prayer. That's how he would do it. And again, there's many different, madhahib as well. Some madhahib actually take from this, therefore, even when they pray the Qiyamul Layl and Tahajjud are 2 different prayers. So when they do Qiyamul Layl, Tarawih is a Qiyamul Layl. They take from this hadith that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prayed 8 rak'ah for Tarawih, as he did in Ramadan. But they take from this. Anyway, so that's the opinion that they take. And some others take other narrations as well, that he actually performed more than that. Next hadith. So this is a bit of taking fiqh benefits out of the hadith, right? We're going to jump a few hadith, go on to hadith number 275. So straight from 65 to 275. In which Aisha radiallahu anha, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with her, she said that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam spent one whole night. Now, she's talking about, guys, listen to this now, subhanAllah. Inshallah, we're going to stay on to this hadith for a moment now. Entire night, all of the units that he's going to pray, all of the 13, the Hajj, Salah and Witr prayer, everything, not one single rak'ah, not one rak'ah, but rather all of the rak'ah that he's going to pray, she says that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam spent the whole night in every single unit of his tahajjud prayer and the witr prayer, reciting one single verse. One single verse. Repeating again and again and again and again and again. Not just one rak'ah. Guys, try to picture that. Imagine that. Why? Why did he do that? Now there's got to be something in that verse, right? Because he just kept on repeating that one single verse again and again. He didn't do anything else. From another narration, we actually come to see in this chapter as well, we get to see when he actually did this, repeated the same verse again and again and again and again throughout his entire night prayer. He even recited the same verse in ruku and sujood. Who can tell me what's the problem with that? Yeah? No? Who can tell me what's that? I'm calling it a problem, but it wasn't a problem. But for us today, what could be the problem with that? In his ruku, in his sujood, in his standing, all of his rak'ah, 13 of them, every single one, or how many ever he recited, he just recited that one single verse from the Quran. Even in ruku position, he's reciting that same verse. Even in sujood, he's reciting that. What could be the problem with that for us today? Anyone? No? What are you not allowed to do in your sujood now? You can't recite from Quran. You can't recite from Quran. Then how did Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did it? Let's see, who can tell me? Yeah?
He was like special.
Of course he was special, but that's not the reason. I know what you're saying, but that's not the reason. Who else can tell me why did Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did it? What could be the problem? Think about it, think out of the box. What could be the reason? Yes, brother at the back? It was a dua, that verse is a dua, but even if it's a dua from the Quran, you are not allowed to recite Quran from Sahih Muslim. Hadith from Sahih Muslim. You're not allowed to recite from the Quran in sujood and ruku. Can anyone think of something else? What could it be? Why did he recite it and then we are told in Sahih Muslim that you don't? Yeah? Jazakumullah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you from Ahl al-Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with beautiful results in your school and your college and your university, and make an obedient child to your parents as well. Jazakumullah khair. And may you be from the Sadaqah Jariyah of your parents as well, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you from amongst the scholars, inshallah. Did you hear what he said? At that time, he was allowed to do it. But the order that come, as we know from the hadith from Sahih Muslim, the command came after. As the scholars have said, the command came after. So, you don't recite from the Quran in your sujood and ruku, but at that time, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did it because at that time, the command had not been sent down that you do not recite from the Quran in your ruku and sujood. Anyone know which ayah that was? The ayah that he was reciting again and again? La? Anyone else? Give me the name of the surah. You don't have to tell me the ayah. Which surah is that from? Often? Close, not Surah Baqarah, but it's from beginning of the first 10 surahs. Yeah? La? You're going to mention all 10 now, aren't you? Surah Al-Ma'idah. Surah Al-Ma'idah. He was reciting from Surah Al-Ma'idah. And the verse was, إن تعذبهم Who knows what that verse means? The first word. I'm not going to go to the entire tafsir of this.
If you punish them.
You can punish them. Exactly. Now look at this, subhanAllah. إن تعذبهم فإنهم عبادك وإن تغفر لهم فإنك. I'm reciting slowly so we actually catch the words. فإنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. I'm going to recite even slowly now. Try to catch the words, right? إن تعذبهم فإنهم عبادك وإن تغفر لهم فإنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. Anyone know what this verse means? The full verse. What does it mean?
If you punish them.
Yeah.
Punish them. If you forgive them, you will be more.
Jazakallah khair. Exactly, 100%. So, now, the translation of this is, if you punish them, they are your slaves. You can do what you like. You are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are the greatest. It is in your hands. You can punish whatever you wish, however you wish. They belong to you, after all. But, if you forgive them, you are surely the Almighty, All-Wise. Look at these two names now. He has the might and he's the wise. So if he forgives them, Prophet ﷺ saying, it's the ayah of the Quran, if you forgive them, you have the might and you are the wise. Guys, who can tell me right definition, not a like dictionary definition? What does it mean? What is the definition of mercy from us human beings? Who can tell me? Explain what is mercy. Don't give me a definition. Explain what is mercy.
If somebody does something wrong and you want to do them, but you just do them and you don't.
That is beautiful. He's like, I think he's 90% there. So if someone does something wrong, the brother said, you're going to punish them, but you don't punish them. Okay, he's 90% there. Now link the names to this. Why am I saying this? He has the might and he's the wise. Sorry? He has the power to punish them. He has the power to punish them, but he does not. That's mercy. If you are a weak person, someone does something wrong to you, you can't punish them, can you? You can't do nothing to them. It's not in your hands. But if you have the power, you're more stronger than them in any way possible, and you can punish them, but you don't, that is mercy. Whatever mistakes someone makes, that's what mercy is. Now, okay. You have to, what did I say earlier on? In this hadith, as it says, Prophet is reciting this verse again and again and again and again and again. Guys, what do you picture? Why do you think he's doing this? He's spending the entire night, the Hajj Salah, again and again, and he's saying this. Yeah? He's not pondering over the verse. No. You guys are right. Say again. What about the Ummah though? What is it thinking about the Ummah? Okay. Yeah, you kind of on the lines. Yeah. Anyone else? Give me something else. Guys, he's thinking about his Ummah exactly like you just said right now. That you have to look at the state he has to be in, right? The state of compassion he has to have at that time for his Ummah, because he knows, like, you know, even not just the disbelievers, even the Muslims do wrong as well. They commit sins as well, right? So we don't have to go into the tafsir, what verse came before it, what came after. Then of course you could look at the reasons. Maybe this verse, the story before it, was speaking to a group of people. But Prophet Muhammad is not doing that here. He's just gone for that one verse. Okay? And in that, he's speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's pleading to him, and he's making dua to him again and again and again for his ummah. One, his ummah, his people who have accepted Islam, they commit sins as well. And maybe even the mushrikeen around of that time who aren't coming to Islam. And he's seeing them, how can these people be ignoring Islam? Look at the wrong these guys are doing. Not just to me, because me who I am, as Prophet said, would say, but rather to a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How could these guys be ignoring the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So he was so totally, two things, immersed into the compassion for his ummah, and he was immersed into this verse. Hence he was just repeating it again and again and again, and he was thinking about the worry and the grief that he had for his ummah, that if they are caught for their mistakes, for the sins that they are making, and the disobedience that they are doing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what could be the punishment for that? Why? Because we know it was only Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No human being after that has ever been given that. No one can be given that. He's been taken on a journey. What happened on the night journey? He's been shown the signs of the hellfire, people of the hellfire, the acts that people do. Take one of them, backbiting. Do Muslims do backbiting or not? They do, right? But he's been shown the punishment of that person. That if someone backbites, what are they going to get? How much do we belittle something like backbiting or lying or just ignoring salah sometimes, ignoring masjid or whatever? But Prophet Muhammad SAW, he knows, like, what's this verse saying? And he knows what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of doing. And he knew, of course, he knew there's a lot of people, like, who are doing the wrong, either be the kuffar, the mushrikeen, or whatever. So he was making dua for all of them because he wanted everyone to come to Islam. Of course, not just to follow him, but to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And to be saved from the hellfire. And that was his first message when he called people to the mount, very first time. When the revelation come onto him, he called the people and he told them, would you believe if there was an army behind me? And they say, yes, we will believe you. What did he say after that? I'm warning you of a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if you don't follow him, the punishment that would come. And his own people, of course, they ignored him as well. His own family also ignored him as well. Now, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, he can punish whom he wills. But everything of our life and our actions is all about winning the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's all about winning the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Because as we know from other hadith as well, that Prophet Muhammad, he said it himself, I'm only going to go to Jannah sorry, excuse me, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wraps me up in his mercy. Not because of my deeds, not because I'm a prophet, not because I'm the last messenger, rather if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wraps me around in his mercy. And that's the main thing that we need to be going towards as well. And we know that the one sin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran that he will never forgive is shirk. Right? Of course. But even when it comes to that, we can't say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can't forgive mushrikeen. Can we say that? What is the problem with that? Who can tell me? Yeah?
God's own merciful and he can do what he wants.
He can. But what's the problem with if anyone says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can't punish the mushrikeen? Give me a different hand.
You're limiting the ability to Allah.
Jazakallah khair. Exactly. That's one of the big points. Yeah?
So if they go like a reward from Allah, would they take it away?
If they do good, they will get rewarded in this dunya. Yes, that's right. Give me one more answer that I think I'm looking for. So what you said is exactly right. You can't limit the mercy of Allah. Yeah?
I mean, like, see, a con is like a very harsh word.
It is a harsh word. Exactly, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what my brother said as well. Yes, you're right.
If they say can't, that means they say that it's stronger than it.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't limit him. Yeah?
He has the power to.
He has the power to do anything whenever he wills. So we say that he won't, you can say that, but you can't say that he can't. Because if there are, we know from other narration and tafasir and everything as well, that if there are any people who never got the message of Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive them. And there may be a group of those people as well. So they probably never worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There could be some people even around in our time as well. If they are on those kind of lands, then no message ever got to them. If there are some people like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive them as well. Even if they committed shirk. Or if they didn't accept Islam unknowingly in that way. So we can't ever, like you guys said, we can't limit the ability of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do. And he can do whatever he wishes. Right? Now, the ayah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that he has recited, another thing that he is also confirming, that the sinners, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, he can punish them all or he can forgive them all. Right? So he can do whatever he wishes. So we should never go to them. If we see someone committing any sin, major sin, we should never say to them that you are gonna go to the hellfire. No, we shouldn't. Why? Why should we not do that? Yeah? Yes, exactly. Okay. Was the brother next to going to say something? No, okay. Anyone else? Why should we never say that yet?
It's because
Yeah, it would have been nice to say that. So you don't say harsh things to someone, especially on someone's deathbed. You don't say that to them. If someone is like, even if, like we know from the narration that Ali ibn Abi Talib, when he attacks someone, he actually kills someone, and just before striking, no, sorry, it wasn't Ali ibn Abi Talib, it was Umar ibn Khattab, right? Just before he was about to strike the enemy, they said the Shahada to be protected from that strike. But Umar ibn Khattab still killed him. And when Prophet Muhammad, when he found out about that, he got so angry at him. He got so upset and angry at him. And he said, did you rip his chest and look into his heart? What was in his heart? How can you judge what was in his heart? You should have let him go. So, we should never ever judge whatever is anyone's heart. So whatever you see, apparently, of course, you protect yourself from any sins. You advise your brother or your sister, but never say, wallahi, you're going to go to any horrible place like that or whatever. So we should never ever say that at all. Now, so to protect ourselves, as Prophet Muhammad he's always making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to be protected from the hellfire, right? So just to go through a few pointers, inshallah, let's go through what's going to, inshallah, help us. And we'll wrap up with that, inshallah. We'll try to wrap up by 8:30, another few minutes, and we'll try to take some benefits from this few pointers, inshallah. We know that the purpose of our life is to protect ourselves from the hellfire and to make it to Jannah, because this is our temporary journey. We are here just temporarily. Our main life is the life of the hereafter. Our eternal life is the life of hereafter. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said it in the Quran as well, that the main success of a person is for the one who has protected himself from the hellfire. That is real success, not just the success of this dunya, right? So, there are some things that a person can do to protect themselves from the hellfire, which are really desirable, but there are also some things which are very undesirable. Undesirable. Couple of things which are desirable and which we should be doing all the time. Number one, of course, is tawbah. Tawbah is the first main thing that if you have ever committed a sin, you turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means the one who turns around, and that's what you're doing. When you commit a sin, you make a mistake, you turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the intention, of course, has to be sincere in the heart, because tawbah is done in the heart. Tawbah is not the physical or you're not uttering the tawbah. You can as well. That's istighfar. That's the difference between istighfar and tawbah. Tawbah is your intention. You've decided in your heart, you made a mistake, and you are going to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is nothing more powerful than that, than tawbah, to protect you from hellfire. Because there is no sin that can stand against tawbah. Any sin that you can think of in the entire world, no sin can stand tawbah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He can even forgive shirk, which is the biggest of all of the sins. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. Now, what makes it powerful, what makes the tawbah powerful, is the more sincere your intention is, then that becomes more powerful. Of course, you have to always have the intention that you're not going to go back to it, you accept that you made a mistake, and you're going to protect yourself from it as well. We are created for tawbah. We are created for this tawbah. Because we all know as well, angels, they come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they say to Allah, that, Ya Allah, we praise you all the time. Day and night, we don't get tired, we don't sleep, we don't eat, we never go against you. Why would you create this creature, this inferior creature who's going to shed blood, they're going to go against you, they're going to disobey you? Why would you create them? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the angels, you do not know what I know. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He does not love the sin, He loves the one who comes back from the sin. And we are also told that if, and don't make this an excuse for sinning, if people never sinned at all, He will get rid of that creation and He will create those who would commit sins and come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that does not mean you not go and commit sins. We already commit enough sins. No one here can say, I do not commit any sins at all. We always do. Abdul Rahim?
Is it like saying, I
Yeah.
You've got like a drink with you, and then you step on ants. Does that mean you get on sin?
If you intentionally do it, that could be a mistake. But if it's not that, you don't know. Now, for example, say you're a baligh. You pray 5 times a day, right? You pray 5 times a day, and your mind goes here and there. You're making mistakes. You don't realize. Sometimes intentionally you could be thinking about something else. Your khushu is not on the top. You're not reciting Quran every single day, all the time. You're not obedient, you're like super obedient to your parents all the time. You can't be. Everyone does make mistakes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us as Kullu ibn Adam al-Khatta. Kullu ibn Adam al-Khatta. Every single man of Adam, son of Adam, commits sins. Khata. We know in our Urdu as well, right? Everyone commits sins. وَخَيْرُ خَطَّائِنُ التَّوَّابُ. So the best of those are those who come back from making the mistakes. Next one after tawbah is istighfar. Of course, the utterance of the istighfar. And that's what we say again and again. Prophet Muhammad in some narration, he would say 100 times in a day. Some narrations, 100 times in one single sitting. Then who are we? Why should we not be doing that? Istighfar is the utterance from your mouth. Tawbah is in your mind and in your heart. Utterance is the istighfar. Next one, and of course this one. Now there's a hadith in which Prophet ﷺ told us there was a man. He would commit sins all the time. So he's committing this sin. He commits the sin and he comes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he raises his hands and says, Ya Rab, forgive me for the sin that I have made. Then he would go and commit that sin again, and then he will come back, do the same again. Go again, commit the sin, come back. Again and again, he's going, commit the sin back, commit the sin back, commit the sin back. 10 times he could come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never gets tired of forgiving the sinners when they come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never ever gets tired. He can forgive you as much as you come back to Him, He'll carry on coming back to you. Other things, what help us is our good deeds, of course. And we know from the hadith as well, the narration of the person who committed a sin, he kissed a girl. That's max he did, and he realized he's made a mistake. He comes to Prophet ﷺ and he says, I've committed a major sin. I've made this major mistake. And then he prayed his salah. Prophet ﷺ didn't say anything. He prayed his salah, and then after that he was about to walk off. Prophet ﷺ calls him back and he says to him, did you not pray with us? He says, yes, I did. And he says, the good that you do, any good that you do, it wipes away the bad that you do. So if you ever make any mistakes, if you commit any sins, try to do more good. Next one, another beautiful one. This is what we need to remember. Another beautiful one, if we can take this with us. One thing that helps us, dua and istighfar of other people for you. Dua and istighfar of the righteous people for you, especially if they're mentioning your name. And other people are making dua for you. Think about it, if a stranger on the street just sees you, likes your akhlaq, your manners, the way you are, and they make dua for you. Think about it, you did some good to someone, for someone, like years ago, and they remember you and make dua for you, and they ask for your istighfar. That benefits you, right? One of the ones, which is, like I said, there's some desirable ways, like these ones, undesirable ways, which protects a person from the hellfire. One of the ones, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us from this. What protects people from the hellfire, and I'm saying may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us from this one that I'm going to mention, is the punishment of the grave. There are some Muslims who are major sinners. They get punished in the graves, they get great punishment. Because they didn't care about many things, what gives a person their punishment of the graves. And when they are getting punished in the grave, they would be thinking the next stage is the hellfire. But that could be the purification. There are Muslims who are major sinners, they get purified in the grave through the grave punishment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never give us any punishment of the grave, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get us into Jannah bil hisab. Without any hisab, without any accounting, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those. I'll just mention a couple more, inshallah. One of them is the trials on the day. The trials on the day will protect some people from the great punishment of the hellfire. Give me one of the stages that you know on the day that you have to deal with some accounting before a person is either thrown into hellfire or goes into Jannah even. One of the stages, yeah? What comes after the bridge? Yeah? Something comes after the bridge. Who knows? Yeah? No, not that one. Not that one. Any sisters? What stage comes after the bridge? No? Come on guys, it's a main stage. We all, this, you know, we gotta do a topic on this, because this is one of those stages every single individual in the Muslim world needs to know what this is. Huh? No, it's not Hajj. Say that again, sister. La, before the water. The very next stage after the bridge. Afwan? La, not the books. Before the books even handed over to you, yeah? Akhi, what am I asking you? How is Ramadan gonna come after the bridge? On the day of judgment, Ramadan is gonna come. Come on, Abdul Rahim. Come on, bro. La, it begins with Qa. Qa. Qantara, guys. Come on, what's wrong with you guys? You guys know. I know you guys know. Qantara is the stage that's going to come after the bridge. Right? We all know what that. We know what that is. So Qantara is the stage after the bridge is crossed. Even if you crossed it as a lighting speed, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who cross it at the speed of lighting. And after you go to that, you're going to come to a stage Qantara where you are going to have to answer to the people if you did any injustice to them, or people who did injustice to you. You're going to be able to deal with them on that day. That's the stage that's going to come. We're going to all look into this. We know what that is, but we really have to study these stages, what Qantara is and what's going to happen on that day. Next two, the last two that I mentioned, and then we close. I'll quickly go into this. One is a shifa of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is going to protect us on that day. And what is going to get us the shifa of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Who can tell me quickly? There's one thing that you do at one time. You make one dua, which in many, like a hadith from Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, if you recite the dua, you get the shifa of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After Adhan, Jazakumullah khair, exactly. So if you get the shifa of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we get that. Last one, another one, and this is not the last one for tonight for us mentioning it, is the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because there are going to be people who are going to be deserving of going into the hellfire, but they are going to be forgiven through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's going to be one man, and I'll wrap up with this, right? We mentioned this about a few months ago. There's going to be one man, he's going to come on that day, that he's going to be told, the angels are going to be told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, take this man and throw him into the hellfire. While this man is being dragged, he's going to call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he's going to be asking for his rahmah. Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask him, why do you expect me to forgive you? He's going to say, Ya Allah, I did not expect this from you. Hadith says this. I did not expect this from you. Allah's going to say, what did you expect of me? He's going to say, I expected your mercy from you. And he's going to be given forgiveness on that day through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from ever touching even the smoke of the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from any major sins. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all of us enter Jannah and neighbors of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all of the Sahaba without any of the accounting of hisab. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.